So all my life, so I grew up in Heber City, Utah. Heber City's a small little town, has all these fun traditions. One of the traditions that they have is when you're a young missionary and you put your missionary papers in to apply to go on a mission, they give you a phone call at 4:30 in the morning. And the reason they do that is because that's when your mission papers arrive at the post office. And so I remember getting the call 4:30 in the morning. I woke up, I ran down, got in my PJs, I got in the car and I drove to the post office. I got the envelope that had my mission call, and I was so pumped. I was so excited. And I brought it home. I woke up my brothers, my parents, everybody's down in the living room. Grandma and grandpas are on the phone. And I opened up my call. Now, I had planned in advance that I was going to take a black piece of paper and cut the top left corner kind of in an L shape so that I could put it on top of my call and slowly start to read. And as I did, I could just kind of, I wouldn't cheat. My eyes wouldn't cheat, and it would ruin the experience. And you kind of find out where you're going before you even read it. And so I kind of slowly would move the black sheet down, and then it got to the part where it said, "You have been hereby called to serve in the," and I'll be honest, I was the kid that I wanted to go as far away from Utah as possible. I wanted to go and live in the desert or live in the jungle and eat the cockroaches and speak the languages and have those cool experiences. And so I'm sitting there and I move it over one letter because it says, "You've been hereby called to serve in the," and it says I. I is the first letter. And I remember thinking, okay, India, baby. Like, I'm straight up going to India. And I moved it over one more letter and it says D. And I thought to myself, I said, that doesn't ring a bell. And I moved it over again, AHO, Boise mission. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's just like that Singles Word movie. And I was like, I'm going to Boise, Idaho. And it's so funny because, I mean, out of all the places, right? And we're sitting there filming the whole thing, and we've watched it several times since I've gone on my mission. And the funniest part about that whole video is my mother. My mother just starts rolling on the ground, just dying. She's laughing so hard. And the funny thing, because my mom, Mormon family, right? So we grow up, and we were growing up, and she would make roast and mashed potatoes almost every Sunday. That's just what you do in a Mormon family. And she'd plop those nasty mashed potatoes on my plate. And I would look at those and I would never eat them. And she would say, "Eat your potatoes." And I'd say, "No, I'm not eating those potatoes." And she would say, I kid you not, from the time I was like 8 years old till the time I left on my mission, she would say, "Eat your potatoes or God's sending you to Idaho on your mission." And holy cow, I learned quick that God has a sense of humor, that's for sure. And I remember looking back at my mom and I said, whatever, God doesn't send Utah missionaries to Idaho. And she looked back at me and she said, "Watch it happen." And it happened. I got sent to Boise, Idaho, and 4.5 hours away from home. I took the 45-minute flight. I was jet lagged. I had barely enough time to eat my peanuts, and I was on the ground in Idaho. And the funniest part is you tell people that you get your call to Boise, Idaho, and they're like, "No, where are you going?" And then I'm like, "No, I'm going to Boise, Idaho." And they'd be like, "No, man, stop playing. Well, where are you going?" And then I just, "No, man, like, I'm going to Boise, Idaho." And then there was always the awkward pause. And they'd be like, "Dude, that's cool, man. That's cool. Like, good for you." And they always say, it's not about the place. It's the people that you serve. You'll get that all the time. And so as funny as that is, going to Boise, Idaho, of all places, it was the place I was supposed to go. And Boise, Idaho is a place of miracles. And I will never forget the people that I met there, the families. And Boise, Idaho, yeah, it's close, but having a mission that's so close to home is awesome. I've been back 7 times now. I've visited so many different people. We've been able to, people are coming here for General Conference or for BYU Education Week, or they have family here. And so you get to experience your mission, post-mission life in a way that most missionaries don't. And, to just be able to hop in a car and in 4 hours be in your mission with families that you loved and you served and they served you, and you have these memories and this bond that only missionaries understand. But to experience that after a mission on a regular basis is such a privilege, and it was so worth that the experience and some, maybe the humor and the comedy that comes from going to Boise, Idaho on your mission.